here, whatever, you know? But that's what I love about Acasma as well, because it's about meeting everyone right where they're at, always seeing the highest good, and then allowing that presence, you know, the space to be whatever it is, and not having to say, oh, but by week 3, we should be here. Wait a minute. This
Yes,
is,
I love that. That's what I love about your teachings too, because it's very hard to find a teacher that, um, for sure, I manifested you. Because in my mind, I was like, yes, there's a framework, but everyone is different. Therefore, it can't be so harsh to say this is this and this is that. But there's also a lot of, that's why it's so great you called it sacred expansion. There's a lot of expansion happening for the person's consciousness at the time that it needs to happen and when. And I wanted to say this. I think you don't give yourself credit enough, because what you are also doing is who you are teaching and who you are working with. And the new masters are opening all of their, you call them sacred senses, all of their clair senses, their mediumship skills. My clairvoyance has went like, now I'm starting to hear things. I'm like, oh my God, what is that now? I'm hearing stuff now. Is that me? So this is a consciousness that's expanding on the subtle level that maybe people are not aware of, that's happening as well. Like, I really wanted to say that, because as a master teacher, this consciousness expands and your medicine is coming through, like the way that I hear, the way that I see. And they might not be picking it up enough, but I wanted to call that out, that I truly know that this is what's happening. So
thank you. I appreciate that, really. And I may even alter my website more because I don't talk about that a lot. I say activate your gifts, but I don't go into detail, you know? Um, it's all the vibrational space of you where you now live. That's why I feel like another thing that isn't really as picked up on, I think, as it could be, is the understanding of vibration, because the vibration
yeah,
of consciousness, where the gifts are and how they're expanding, is one space, but then the vibration of the outer world, the abundance, the health, the joy, the peace, all of those spaces, right? They also expand. It's inevitable. You can't, I mean, you can see it in pockets because there are spaces that sometimes hold densities that we haven't seen yet or interacted with in a certain way to allow them to alchemize with love. But it's inevitable that it is the whole being. That's why I think it's so interesting, because people come in and sometimes will think they're going to learn how to do something that's really cool, and then
that's right.
do
That's
it.
right. Yeah,
But
and
it,
you said something to me very profound. You said, you're seeing the light beings because that is your vibration. You are in that vibration. And I went, huh. Because I didn't put it together logically, right? I'm like, why are these light beings showing up all of a sudden now? I mean, I could always feel them and sense them. And you said, because your vibration, that's in your vibration now, that's in your field. And I think that is something that um, people need to know about this course,
yes, you're
along with
right.
that you are expanding their gifts, and that it is you, like you always say, it is you expanding you,
It is,
right?
as a facilitator. So even if they're not a teacher and a master and they're working with a client only, they're still providing a higher vibrational space of connectivity where that consciousness of that individual being they're working with, whether client or student, has the opportunity to anchor in that alignment that's being offered. That's
Yes.
why Acasma always sees what's right and amplifies it, because it's allowing that energy line to expand enough so the person they're amplifying it for in the session space can click into it.
I'm just
And
looking behind you because there's like a pink, little bit of a pink sphere behind you
oh,
on the wall.
beautiful. Well, we'll have to analyze the video when we get a chance to with it.
Yeah, I'm like, as you're talking, it's like, going in and out, and I'm like, okay, that's a pink
I
sphere.
did a video the other day. I can show you the one. I can show you this.
Oh my God.
You see that picture at the top, all right? This was at right before sunrise. I was
Oh my God.
And it's one of the
Yeah.
clearest, it's one of the clearest colored ones I've ever gotten. It's like a peach color. And there were two. There was this one, and at the very same time, um, another one, the same color. They came down this side of me as I was getting ready to sit down and do the work. And the one came, and then there was a smaller one. They were the same color, and they just flew out
Oh my
together.
God.
And then there was another one that was blinking the whole time it was coming across. And there was one that was so slow. It was so beautiful because sometimes I have to work hard to kind of catch a photo of them, you know? But I asked them, I said, is this all right? And the very beginning, 2019, I asked them because I don't
Absolutely.
disrespect. And they told me, yes, we're here. You need to tell them we're here. And so I have the right. They told me, please, we're coming for a reason. They know what I'm.
You think exactly like I do when I show some of mine. I'm like, is it okay if I share it, Spirit? And like, and Spirit's like, yes, we've showed up for everybody, not just you. And I'm like, oh, okay, I just want to make sure.
Yes, and I felt like they were telling us as well that humans have been barraged with fear and negative based imprints and programming. And so
Yes.
when they came, they said, it's time for you to bring this, and others on the planet are doing this as well. You need to show them the light. They've never been shown the light. The videos are just getting even more incredible.
Well, you're expanding more and more with all the work you're doing, right? Like you keep expanding, right? And that's it. I think like spiritual, when you're on a spiritual journey and you're part of kind of that group, there's like, oh, everyone's always looking like, what's the goal? What's the end? And I'm like, there is no end. The question is, how much can I expand? Is
Yeah.
really the question. How much um, can I work with those that I can't see being part of that, my higher self, right?
Yes.
And the whole shift of the perception, I mean, it's just wonderful how we can see our higher selves kind of healing our human selves and how that higher self is always connected to us and that higher self is connected to source spirit. I told you I saw like Jesus or Yahshua behind me and all of them. And um, I remember you saying we are in a circle together. You're not below them. You're with them.
I find that one of the spaces that is most expansive and powerful for the human right now of these types of understandings, humans that are in these types of understandings and teachings, is really owning that you are here. Like you said, most want to get to the next space, but the power lies in really owning the eternalness of the
Yeah.
now and not needing anything else. I mean, just knowing that if I never had another moment, I'm blissed. I mean, I love
Yes.
everything. Like I need for nothing more. But that really, I think, is what creates the heaven is within and the blissful state outside because when you're searching, you're aligning to searching. When you're
Yeah, that's
wanting,
right.
you're aligning to wanting, right? But when you are in love with the moment, you're aligning love of the moment. So you're constantly aligning another love of the moment, right? As you are being the moment.
And people are scared of that. And I'll say, like I finally feel in full alignment with my life. Like there's not an area of my life where I don't
I
feel
love that.
unfulfilled, right? It's like there's not an area where I don't. And I think people get afraid of that because they're like, what's next? I was kind of giggling to myself, going, oh my God, I like my job. I
I
love what I
know.
do.
I
My
know.
ancestors keep talking to me. My energy keeps expanding. I get to eat chicken tonight. Look at the birds. I'm
That's
like, I walk out and I'm like, oh, there's a yellow bird. Confronted mobility. Look at that leaf fall. I'm like, I see, damn, what a great world this world is. And I'm like, I think people get afraid of that feeling.
they may be afraid, that's true, because
Or they
they
don't even know what to
recognize
do with themselves because it's
they
a lot of energy to hold.
That's true.
It's so
That's true too.
overwhelming. It just feels
It,
like
it
so beautiful.
it is, I do have moments where I'm grateful for the techniques that I understand. Like I had a moment the other day where because I offer these spaces, and then sometimes I'm doing these attunements in these, video spaces, and the energy will get extremely high. But I notice my light language has changed, but I understand why. So I have my original language, it never leaves, of course, but new ones came in, and they are to ground me when that energy gets super, super high. And they're very interesting. They're very quick. They're very tone based. They're like, they're very interesting, you know?
Oh, I love it.
And
I love it. As soon as you said that, I was like, "Grrr."
so the minute I did it, because I was just filming and it just kind of, I felt it wanting to come, and I just flow with it, you know? The minute I did it, I felt my body and my energy just go juk, juk, like locked in, to be like grounded, and I could
Yeah.
continue. But yes, it's that understanding of trusting the self to always know what to do. The body will know what to do, the energy will know what to do, you will know what to do, your team knows what to do. And it's such a beautiful unfolding. But some people are fearful, most likely because they're comfortable at being what they are, even though they say they want to change or they want a different life.
Yes.
But it's that understanding of stepping out and saying, I'm okay to be a different me, and then really embodying that, because there's no way, in my humble opinion, that you can be different without being different.
Exactly. Exactly. You
Because
can
people,
talk about it all day long.
and you can
You
have
can,
post-its and classes and mantras and
we
candles, and
complicate it. We complicate.
you
Just be
have to
it.
choose. You have to choose to be different. I talk different. People say to me, "You're not British. Why do you speak that way?" And I say, "I don't know. It just happened. And I'm not going to worry about it because it goes along with everything else. I can't tell you how it happens, but it does." And so it makes sense to me, And I
Oh, it's
look
so
different
funny.
somewhat. I even look a bit different than I did several years ago, for the better, mostly.
You look very young. Like I said, this work is very, because I think you had posted up a little while ago, you and your husband, and you look the same age when you guys were young. And I'm like, she is going backwards in age. Like she looks very young because the energy makes you radiant. Your cells are vibrating.
So beautiful. But, you and I were talking about how we are living in a different vibrational space, right? So that's why we're witnessing a different vibrational, reality. And that's another part of it, is just tapping into your light language whenever, and even like I've noticed my hands, I'm starting to make like really unique symbols with my hands, and it's just another part of it. So for me, it's just
It's un-
fascinating.
it's unlimited. It's just so unlimited. Oh, you're there. Yeah.
Yes.
It's unlimited. And for me, it's like every day waking up to go, hey, Spirit, what's new today? What's gonna happen
Yes.
today? And kind of giggling and laughing about it. And people like my son and my husband are like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, what? What's wrong with me? I'm super happy. And it's funny that people ask you what's wrong with you when you're super
All
happy.
right. If they don't, it takes a little time for them to register this type of space, because most of it's coming from their head, right? So
Yeah.
the program that's at play says that that particular type of response, reaction, choice, whatever, is, not normal. But it's only not
Right.
normal because people haven't been allowing it, even though it's always been available.
Ah, thank the Lord. Thank the Lord for you.
Oh,
Seriously, I found you, and it's like my consciousness just went whoosh.
and do you
Anyway, the
know?
consciousness just keeps expanding.
Yes,
So
yes.
that vibration that you talk about, yes, put it more on your website, that opening of your clair senses. Absolutely. I mean, because I was a clairvoyant and now my mediumship is opening up, right? So being in this higher consciousness, this higher vibration is awaking all of that within us who are open to receive it, right?
I love it. But maybe I could take out some of this that just talks about what this space offers. And
Yes, please.
because you really shared a lot of really good feedback. If you're all right with it, if you want to think about it, you can think
Absolutely.
about it.
I want your work out there, and I want people to come to this amazing space within themselves.
Yes.
Um, because God, you'll have a bunch of giggling people around the world laughing, you know what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes. And I
Right?
really, this can sound pretentious, but it's not meant to sound that way at all. And I think you know me well enough, but
Yes,
I believe this is part of the second coming. I believe this is
I
part of
do too.
how the human ascension occurs, is teachings like this, reconnective, energetic spaces like this that allow the being, the individual, to anchor its I am and allow it to flow into its life in its now version, because that's what's happening.
I
And
absolutely believe it 150,000%. So I don't think it's pretentious at all. I knew when you came, this energy was very different. I knew it was attached to Joshua without even knowing what it was. I just knew it. I'm like,
I love that.
Joshua's
I
behind
love
this.
that about you. Yes, I love that.
Yes,
Thank you.
I felt that. And
That was
um,
my entire journey, my entire life up until probably maybe 4 or 5 years ago. That was it. And I never ever asked anyone else for anything. I never ever was into goddesses or gods of other than I never, the Holy Spirit and Jesus were the only two spaces in which I felt spiritual connectivity. And
yes,
but I also felt like it did fit the way I had been given to me. I
that's right.
found the purity in it, but I couldn't swallow the stuff that was around the outside. And I
Me
kept
either.
feeling like he got ripped off. I'm like, this isn't
He
anything.
did get ripped off.
This. And I started to write a book and it was How Man Screwed God. That was the title.
I love it. How brilliant.
But
How brilliant.
I haven't finished it because I started doing the work to try to help it stop. But yes, that
Oh,
whole concept to me, I felt like, you know, the individual, almost Christ within, right? The understanding that he brought, that he taught, that he was, that he is within every single human being. It's available to be the tap in point. It, to me, that's the I am reconnection. But it wasn't in order to look to be saved by something else. That was never the intent. It was to
no.
rise up and save thyself, because you are a part of that space in which you are thinking you are going to be saved by. You are a part of that space,
Oh my God, I
so
love that.
it's
He's
everything.
everywhere. And when you did that attuning session, what came to me, I finally saw how all is one.
Yes, thank you.
All is one, no matter which way you come in.
Mm-mm.
All is one. Doesn't matter if you're studying indigenous medicine, if you're studying this or you're studying, it's the same consciousness, everybody. Hello. And
And
it becomes one.
I believe when Yeshua said, I am the head and you are the body, and no man cometh unto the Father but by me, all of that is unity consciousness. It is not
Yeah.
a man figure, God, man, white beard, father. That was terminology used trying to get a space of human consciousness to fathom the understanding of no separation, the
Yes.
understanding of being one with. Jesus healed the man at the pool of Bethesda and said, now go and sin no more, lest something greater come upon you. And the understanding of what that really meant, and how it's across the board for all of us. And it's not about sin, it's about how you align your energy and missing the mark by making an unaware, unconscious, irresponsible alignment. So, anyways, that's in there. Then there's
Going to be so beautiful because I don't think anyone has ever read Joshua in alignment of energy.
I know. I don't think there's ever been a energy healing modality that has brought in
Never.
the teachings of Jesus. So
And
here we
why not? We bring
why
in
would
like
you not? He's
Reiki
the one that did the
teachers.
miracles. He did
Yeah,
them. He did them. But
exactly.
see, but it's taught in a way where they're outside of us. They're away from us. Like, we have to hope to touch the hem of the garment. But the problem is he came to teach you and he said, greater things shall you do than I have done. So
Yes.
it's not about that. He was, for me, he didn't come to make a bunch of Christians. He came to make a bunch of Christs. And I heard someone say that the other day, and I was like, whoa, that's big. Because we're supposed
That's
to be doing
really,
that work, you know, and not,
why wouldn't we? He did create miracles. He was a healer. He was.
and it was
I mean,
all, there's divinity in it. Absolutely. We
yes,
cannot lose the divinity. But at the same time, it's also consciousness, it's energy, it's
yes.
vibration.
He
And it's
mastered
so,
it.
yes, it's how he walked on the water, it's how he calmed the storm, it's how he made the dead rise and the lame walk and the blind see. It's all energy. He could shift and manipulate and heal it, transmute it. But how? How? The greatest of these is love. That was his thing. The
Yes.
greatest of these is love. Everything he did from pure love. But the more we show up and do that, the more it's validated through our lives. And people go, that lady is real. That lady is for
Yes.
real. And
Yes.
so the fear in the illusion is that we'll be seen as crazy. But the reality is we'll be seen as real.
And the people that are at that consciousness know that.
I
And just for a note for yourself too, that when I was away, you did the attunement for coming into who I am. I think it was something you said like that, like I attuned you to know who you are exactly, to, you're stepping into the I am completely. And when you said that, because there was friction still in me, because I wasn't feeling well and work was, whatever. And then when I was away, of course, I listened to you all the time. I was away, I was listening to it in the morning by the water. And I felt that energy shift because you did the work first and then you told me what you did. And I thought, yes. And then that seeped into my consciousness so deeply that when I came home, I was like, I'm just following this wave. Everything is amazing. Everything is good. I don't need to pick. I don't need to do anything. There is no inner conflict anymore. There's only one.
But
Yeah.
in all honesty, within the massive space of expansion is absolute flow. It's like you're not trying to learn anything anymore. You're not trying to be anything anymore.
Oh,
You are so content with the I am without anything on the other side of it. You really are embodying the I am and allowing that flow as it flows, whatever the flow is, and knowing with such trust and unwavering understanding of yourself, of who you are, that it's just a totally, it's an incredible
it
space.
is. I mean, and you mirror that for all of us, right? That come in, you mirror that. And so I'm like, okay, well, why not? What do you got to lose? And I always hear you say, well, who are you living for, Karina? Right? I
Exactly.
always say that to myself. Who are
Exactly.
you living for?
Beautiful.
Um, yeah. And if anyone's looking for an end state, that is the end state. The I am state. That is the end state. There's
And
nothing more. There's
if
nothing less. And that's
everyone is,
everything.
and everyone is eternal. So the bliss lies in allowing the I am state because there's no, when you put something on the other side of I am, you've allowed a space of existence that is separate
Yeah. So beautiful. So
because
beautiful.
you're saying I am blah blah blah. And there's no reason not to be everything, right? But it's when the mentality locks into that's all I am.
Yes. And it bites on it and it grips it.
Yes,
The mind
right.
grips it and goes,
And so
yes.
when it becomes all that one is, now one has separated themselves out and they're no longer in a flow state because they're stuck in that particular I am space, whatever you said, right? Whatever the thing is. And this is where people, I think, end up in cyclical behavior because they own it, but they've been trained to, they really have the whole societal
Oh,
structure.
oh, everyone's been trained to separate themselves since birth, more or less.
So we're
Separate yourself
here
from who you are. Yes.
We're here now, and we're going to show people there's another way, and we're going to do it with love and compassion. And we're also going to be, first and foremost, we are the example of, and
Yeah.
that's what Jesus did. He was the example of, and
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. And if you really think about it and you look at it and you read the PDFs in the master format and you get to know some of the other masters that are really embodying this space, that's what it's all about. It's not about knowing material, it's about being the vibration of. So
You are it. You become it. It is you.
I believe that's why they built the Bible the way they did, because they put enough of his energy in it to make it be supernatural,
Yes.
super powerful. They put enough of his energy in it by the words they did put in there, and then
Yes.
they slammed it with judgment and all this other stuff that's really crazy. Um, I said this one time. I said his words are like a clear quartz crystal that's been stuck inside of muddy water. When you pick it up out of the muddy water, it's still a clear quartz crystal. The muddy water can't touch it. It can't get in it. It's a clear quartz crystal, and it just drips off of it, and it maintains its vibration. And to me, that's how I look at that. I love your feedback.
I can't wait. I'm already excited. I got tingles up my spine. Yes.
All
Perfect.
right, beautiful one.
Okay. Have a nice
Blessings
night.
upon you.
Bye.
Blessings.
Blessings.